presenting.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lebanon Board of Park Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order and let the minutes reflect that all members are present except John Lastly. And if everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. John, did you want to do new business before you go through the old business?
Okay, new business.
Did you want?
Oh, yes, Heather Heiss is here to make a presentation.
Okay, I
Is that-
thought you wanted to switch them.
Oh, new business, okay. Yeah, do new business first.
Okay.
That'd be Heather, if you want to take the...
Okay, Heather
And
Heiss.
you can explain
is here
and
to make a
introduce yourself and
presentation.
say who you're with. And
Good evening. I am Heather Heiss, and I'm with Snyder Recreation. And if I can I get the PowerPoint? Yep, cool. So, as mentioned, I am Heather Heiss with Snyder Recreation. Snyder Recreation has been in business for about 30 years, and I am currently a resident of Lebanon, so I am local. We serve customers in Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. We offer cooperative pricing through Omnia, which is National IPRA. We do have the Grant Resource Center, and then we are an IPRA, Indiana Parks and Rec Association member, as well as the exclusive Burke Playground provider in Indiana. Past that, we do also offer, just beyond the playground equipment, we offer any kind of outdoor equipment that you could possibly think of, whether that be trash cans, all the way to the belts for seats on swing sets, to a variety of different outdoor recreation needs. But our primary focus is playgrounds. So John had asked me to speak a little bit about accessible playgrounds, ADA versus inclusive. A lot of times those two words are kind of used interchangeably, and they are quite a bit different. So I'm going to kind of reference that a little bit prior to getting into what I see we could possibly do for the city. So accessible refers to playgrounds that comply with standards addressing routes, surfacing, ramps, and ground level activities. So these are the minimum standards, ADA standards, that we need to meet as a community for everybody, whether they be bound to a wheelchair all the way to able-bodied. So while most playgrounds are accessible, not are all inclusive. So that's kind of the big difference. Inclusive play is primarily about all children having equal access to participate in play at their local playgrounds, regardless of ability, age, or comfort level. So the main difference is accessible is more referencing specific ADA guidelines, where inclusive is talking about little bitty kids all the way up to our senior members of our community. Everybody being able to use our facilities. This is just a verse that Burke uses a lot in their information. While children won't always be able to participate in every activity, the goal is to offer all children a variety of activities at varying levels of difficulty in the same space. So getting all of the different activities in the same area, that's kind of the difference between accessible versus inclusive. So I've got a short little video, it's about 1.5 minutes, and this is Embrace Park in Ohio. So, if we had all the funds in the world, this is the kind of park we would really like to see in the community. Maybe. So the video is not going to play.
uh-oh.
But basically, this is a park that has every kind of accessible and inclusive playground piece of equipment that is on the market. It's got it all in one area with the shades as well. So these are some short-term improvements that we could do immediately to our parks. These are fairly cost-effective options that gets everybody involved. So the one that you'll see on the right-hand side, that's the Freedom Inclusive swings. So these swings are seats with a strap that goes across the chest. So a child, regardless of any condition, would be able to use this. If the child were to be wheelchair bound, they would need to be taken out of their wheelchair to be put into this. But these are completely ADA friendly as well as inclusive. So a little kid could use it as well as a child that was wheelchair bound. And then the Cozy Corner fruit stand, and when I was talking to some of the girls in the park office, that was some of the things that they had seen at different shows that they kind of would like to see in our parks. These come in an option of a fruit stand, an ice cream parlor, a cottage, and a playhouse. You could honestly make a little city with these. And just kind of for reference, the swings, the seat itself is right at $1,000. The cottage is right at $2,200. And then the playhouse, which you don't see, but it's in that same breath as the fruit stand, is $5,100. So these are all things that we could put into the parks pretty easily. And then I'm going to speak to some grants that may be able to help us get some of these items in our parks. I did also include some long-term improvements that we might want to do. On the left-hand side, the picture is on page 165, and that in the brochure that I provided. That's going to be a little bit better than the one that you can see on the screen. But what that is basically a zip line that a kid, whether they're a small child or a child that is wheelchair bound, could sit in that seat. It's a very similar seat to the same one that you see in the swing. It's just attached to a zip line. The cool thing about this one is if you see there's a kid swinging on the side, the kids can do it together. So little kids, big kids, a child that's wheelchair bound, able-bodied, different activity levels, different types of children would be able to use this all together. The reason I put this on a long-term improvements, these are kind of costly because of the way they're structured, the safety involved, and different things of that nature. So one of those is going to run more in the neighborhood of $27,000. The one on the right is an inclusive spinner, and what this spinner is designed to do, it's kind of like a merry-go-round, but it has seats so a child could sit in it a little bit more comfortably, a little bit safer, so when it does start to spin, they're sitting at an angle in this. That's why children of different abilities are able to utilize this versus a regular merry-go-round. And that inclusive spinner is right at $5,800. So those are just a couple of improvements. The inclusive spinner is on page 154 as well. So I found a couple of grants that could help us possibly get some of these items into our parks. Kaboom is one that they do a year-round applications. Application process is fairly easy. It's $15,000 from Kaboom for a minimum of 24. So if we spent 24,000, they would provide 15. The caveat of Kaboom is you have to have community involvement. And what that means is the community members would actually be putting this in. They would be installing it into our community. Kaboom provides a foreman that makes sure that everything is done correctly, done safely. But this is one way that we could get the community involved, get them excited about making some improvements to our parks and being able to curtail some of those costs involved. There's also a U.S. Health and Human Services grant. That is another one that is accepting applications year-round. That one is for a 50-50 match up to $50,000. That one, obviously, because of the amount of money involved, is a very widely applied for grant. But it is one that we can definitely go after. And then there are some federal grants as well. Snyder does provide assistance in helping cities, park boards apply for these grants. We help kind of narrow down the search as well and make sure that we have everything included in those grant proposals in a timely manner, and making sure that everything's in there that needs to be in there, whether that be, quotes from us, quotes from installers. We help you get all of those things together to ensure that you're not going to miss out on a grant because you forgot XYZ form. We do have help with that as well. So that is all the information that I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was a principal for a long time, and so
Uh-huh.
dealt with playground equipment quite a bit.
Sure.
I noticed that the material in some of these items that you shared are a bit different than what we've had in school
Okay.
playground activities.
Sure.
Like most of the time, they're metal with powder coating paint on that.
Right.
And I just was curious about the longevity of this material. Like, what kind of warranty is there?
So Burke offers one of the best warranties in the business. They replace as long as it is normal wear and tear. So if something breaks that is outside of normal, they're going to replace it automatically, no questions asked. They also don't have a prorated warranty. So if something's covered under a warranty, they're going to go ahead and pay it. That's also something that I could provide a little bit more information and send to the board. We have a big pamphlet that's got all kinds of information as far as the warranty goes. But which one were you, which item specifically?
Well, I noticed that a lot of it, for example, is, I don't know, I don't want to say it's like a resin or plastic, or I don't know what the technical term is for that actual material.
Like
but-
the inclusive spinner? Mm-hmm. So it's a very hard resin plastic that is designed to be very durable. So it's not going to be like the thin plastic that you see on slides, for example. We see a lot of wear and tear on those and they break, and that is a very thin plastic. Whereas the items that the inclusive spinner and like the cozy cottage, the fruit stand, that's a very thick, heavy-duty plastic that's designed to take the beating of kids every day. So
When you refer to normal wear and tear, though, what's the duration of that expected to be?
So the inclusive spinner is probably about 10 years, give or take, depending on, if it's something that's used every day or if it's one that, a kid uses it once a week. The everyday usage is about 10 years on that. The fruit stand, that's just as long as it stays in the ground. That's designed to be extremely durable. You obviously see kids that punch and do different things that we can't avoid, unfortunately. But that specific piece is designed to be very long lasting, and I would say about 10 years on that one as well.
What about the seats, like in the zip line, for example?
The venture seats? So those have about a 3 to 5 year life, depending on how
Okay,
much.
3 to 5, is that what you said?
3 to 5.
Okay.
As long as they're not being misused.
Sure.
So that's kind of where you get into, it's very difficult to say this particular piece of equipment is going to last X number of years, because you always get children or adults that are misusing things, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where it depends. But
I was just thinking, more in terms of they're in the elements, the heat of the sun.
yeah, that's normal wear and tear stuff. That's not going to, those are actually going to be more durable than your regular use seats, just the belts, because those you have to replace once every year, once every 2 years. And so you can,
We
I
do.
know that most of my park partners that I deal with, they're replacing those yearly. or every other year, depending on the use of those. But those seats are very heavy-duty plastic. There is also replacement pieces. So, for example, a kid that's not really supposed to be on it is using the chest strap improperly. Those can be replaced, and you're not replacing the entire seat. You're replacing a particular component of it. That's probably where you see, and that's not normally wear and tear, that's damage. Those are individuals doing things with the equipment that's not necessarily supposed to be done with it.
Thank
I
you.
know that's not a great answer,
No, it
but
gives me an idea. Thank you. I was just
it
curious.
really
No,
just depends on what you run into.
That was one of the questions that we discussed, because we've had handicap swing sets, and they were made of heavy gauge metal. And when I asked her, the durability and how long lasting, she said, if you get 2 years out of it, and that's about all we got. And those are very expensive, to say
Those
the
are
least.
extremely expensive.
$4,000 a piece for both
an
of them.
investment.
But the problem is the abuse that they get from not just the handicap, but the others that get on there and abuse them, and that's what.
Supervision at the park is
Yeah,
not.
yeah, it
like
isn't,
in your
and that's
backyard.
the
Yeah.
trouble we had. But one of the reasons to bring Heather here also is that as a park board, we need to start thinking about upgrading our playground material. Most of it, I think, Heather, we've decided that other than 1 or 2 pieces of equipment is over 30 years old, and it is. It is taxing to be always repairing, and anymore, a lot of these playground equipment that we have are outdated, so finding the parts, replacement parts are, your company's been very good, and several others, to replace, because we don't have just one company that we've gone with, several different Little Tykes and all the different ones that we've used. But I just wanted I wanted them to hear that how long they are, so I think Diane's question was appropriate and very accurate of how long do they last, and we've got a lot of good use out of what we have, but we need to start thinking and budgeting on and how we're going to grow it, and if we want the handicap, if we want different areas and where we go, and I think the community projects are good. We are in maybe you could explain what we're in also, the group that we're in, where we do get the best costs, so we don't have to go out and get 50 estimates.
Absolutely.
If you want to explain that.
Absolutely. So what he's referencing is Omnia Partners. They used to be National IPA. And what that is a cooperative pricing. And what that means for a smaller community like ours, say New York City goes out and prices XYZ playground. What that pricing is going to ensure is that we get the same pricing as the city of New York. So they may be ordering 10 of those playgrounds, we're ordering one, but we're going to be getting the exact same pricing as what they're going to get. So that's probably the easiest example is
That's good.
we're talking about huge cities. What they have to do through those partners is make sure that every city is getting the exact same pricing and ensuring that these smaller communities are able to utilize some of those pricings that is offered to these big, huge cities that are offering, buying 10, 20, 30 of a particular product. Whereas we may need 1 or 2. So that's in a nutshell.
Great.
There's a lot more to it
Yes.
than just that, but that's probably the easiest example.
Yeah, and our master planning, we just spoke a little bit about playground and upgrading the equipment, but that's something that there again, I think 30 years is what our newest equipment is, other than 1 or 2 pieces. I think we bought
That's
one.
actually kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Most of my cities that I work with, 10 to 15 years is absolute max. And at that point, they've replaced every component that does get that wear and tear. The slides, the metal platforms that they're walking on. So the things that do get that constant daily wear and tear, they've replaced all of those things. And, you can look at a lot of those pricing, but if something's 30 years old, if you're wanting to replace the slide, the platforms, the bars as they're climbing up, you're looking at spending more in replacement parts than usually it will cost to completely build a new one, because it does get kind of costly to repair a lot of these items. Number one, find them, and when they are being put in, a lot of times the install cost is a lot more expensive than it would be just to take out and put new in.
There you go. And the install too, the last slide that we purchased was roughly 6 years ago, the big green slide in Memorial Park. And I think it was $75,000, and we were going to assemble it ourselves. And then after talking with a lot of directors, they said, no, you want to get somebody. They thought they'd have it up in a week, and 3 weeks later they got it together, and that was $7,000, and the best $7,000 we ever spent. It really was. It all came back in, and yeah, needless to say, they were pretty dumbfounded too of how it was. I think calling the manufacturer several times to figure it out, but those are just some of the things that we need to think about, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no
Heather.
worries. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Okay, thank you.
I think it was Shirley at the last meeting that said something about handicap and looking into that, so I thought I wanted to bring, or Heather was nice enough to come in and, to keep directing our attention to that so we can address the special needs, so we can go forward with that.
Is this something that we could add to our list? I know we have a list. In fact, we need to get, well, I know that one.
Yeah.
We need to get.
Perpetual list.
Yes,
The endless list.
the needs list,
We need,
yes.
we need to meet with the council again in June, so we need to get together
Yes.
because we need to go in with pricing and things. But is this something that we might look at going to the council at some point for like a piece?
It is. I think we need a plan and, there again of which park we're going to put it in, what age group we're going to
Right.
try and control, what needs that we have for what,
Right.
special needs or age-appropriate playgrounds. And Heather did a nice assessment of what we did when we were out there, and her being local helps out a lot too. We're great
I just think
resource
we ought to think
that's handy.
about it.
Her background is zip lines too, so there you go. She's ready for us to have a zip line across the Conservation Club. She think that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Pretty sure that my child was jumping. We have to drive up to Frankfurt.
Oh, don't say that word around here. Okay. Thanks, Heather. But yes, that's, budgets are coming up, the pre-budget meetings, in just 2 weeks, so, yeah, we do need
Well,
to,
we still need to put that list to go to the council because they're going to be meeting in June, but we've got to put dollars.
that's right,
Prioritize.
yeah.
Okay, now we'll go to old business, and John,
Basically, the old business, we'll start out with the Memorial Park, the shelter. Got the cupola put on last week, and also an eagle. If anybody's been out there and saw that eagle, it hasn't flown away yet.
Looks cool.
It is a beautiful piece of copper. There again, the electric was finished up right before the rainstorm today. We'll be removing the poles. I think the pole actually got removed this evening. Utilities will be burying the lines, so finally all around the shelters, those lines will be buried. We have about a little over a third of the park with lines that are buried. I just hate any lines at all. I think they all should be buried in a park. So we're getting to that level, getting help from the utilities. There again, the lighting came in. The first group of lighting that came up for our uplighting on the corners of the memorial shelter weren't going to work out. We've got very heavy-duty ones now. Those will be installed in the near future here in the next week or so. I can't wait to flip on those lights and check that out. But the craftsmanship and everything, the work's been done very well. We did grade and seed everything. However, we had a water line bust from the construction, so we had to go find it and had to dig up a lot of area there again, and also burying the lines today. So those will repair, but it really looks fantastic there. Also spoke with Joe Wilson, who's going to do the concrete work from our path going from Northeast Street, heading right next to the memorial shelter in between the cabin and the shelter, which will direct the traffic, the strollers, the bicyclers, the pedestrian walkers, and that will get them right into the pool, so they won't have to be going in the road, because anymore you get to the sidewalk, you either have to go through the grass or up the road, and that's just not safe. So we about got that nailed. He should start that work next week, along with Triangle Asphalt, who also got the bid along 39 to put the 10-foot, that will be asphalt pavement going adjacent to the road next to 39 there, or off. So people don't like to walk the sidewalk, and hopefully they'll get out of the road, but we'll see how that works out. Real excited about that. Little update on the restroom. The restroom, we put it back out for bid because there was one person that showed up for the pre-bid meeting. We put that back out, so now we're going to extend it again. That should go out. If it wasn't out today, I think Kevin will get it out tomorrow or so. Try and get some contractors interested in the project. We really aren't having a lot of luck, and if you have one bidder, it's going to come in pretty high. So Jessica was nice enough to inform me of some help possibly to go another direction, which I'll look into it tomorrow and see if we can go that, because yeah, the monies we're spending, I'd sure like to spend them on something else other than a restroom. We need the restroom. However, you know, we'll see where it goes at the end of this. But she has a nice idea, and hopefully we'll go that direction and be able to proceed that way, or maybe there'll be 15 people that'll bid on this, but it ain't looking good right now. The contractors are pretty stinking busy, and prices are pretty high. They're getting what they want. Going back to the dog park, all the security systems have been in place. All the gates have security from Security Pros. The camera's been installed. We have all the gates up. We poured concrete in the last month. There again, put some sod in. All the seed has pretty well come up. Now we're waiting on Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, we've had quite a few meetings on this, but I guess our city utility I-lines is more expensive than Verizon, so now Verizon's coming out in the next 2 weeks, hopefully, and as soon as we have Wi-Fi, we can have connectivity to our camera system and also our security system. So until then, I don't want to start opening up and selling things until I see it work myself. So we're about 2 weeks out of opening the dog park. The lighting all works, all the electronics is in, or electric's in, but waiting on that Wi-Fi. Everything's connected, just almost at the finish line. Also, a drive is being installed. They put the first layer of grindings from the road in, and they've regraded. That should be finished up. I think Triangle Asphalt also got the bid out of 3 bidders. And boy, he's put in all week, he's put in some work. He's wanting some rain to get on it. Believe it or not, he's had some dry weather, but he wants some rain. There's a couple soft spots. He wants those to harden up, where he'll go ahead, and that should be paved next week. So we're all ready for that dog park, just need some Wi-Fi is all we could go a different direction and go down every day that somebody signs up and put them in individually, but that just isn't worth it to me. I say we want the system going before we get going. And there's a lot of interest. I think we've sold or handed out over 100 just dog license that they don't have to have fees for, because we're still doing that at the park. But everybody that comes in is asking, when's that dog park opening up? Can we sign up? So I think we'll have a big barrage there at the very start of it. Now switching gears over to the splash pad. There's another one that we're almost at the finish line. The bumpers, the handicap lines and signs that have been put up, we're graded and seeded everything to the most part. There's still a little bit more of that. They're currently painting the pump house and inside the pump house. We did have a training session last week. Had the guy back out today. He was going to be here Thursday, but came back out today that sold us the equipment because some of it didn't functioning properly. So we're getting some bugs ironed out on that process. There again, it's really cool. I've seen it operate a couple times. A lot of mud coming in, and we've had a little bit of vandalism with kids throwing mud and walking all over everything with mud. So put a barricade around it, just plastic barricade, zip tied it together. The fence is going in now. They've got about maybe a third of the fence put up, and they are working on it daily. So as soon as the fence is up, well, we'll be pretty well good to go. I've already taken 3 samples from down there from the very start, because our chlorinator and acid and sand filtration system, that's all working properly in the UV. And you have to have at least 1 pass before you can open the thing up by the state. A pass on the clarity of the water. It's already been passed, flying colors. We've had 3 of those, took the 3rd one today, so we've had 2 passes. So our end is done. We're just waiting on the contractor to finish up some loose ends. That project also will be walked through on Friday. So we'll do a punch list and show them all the things that we found wrong with it. And they'll fix those. It won't stop the opening of it, but just getting a few more bugs. We had 2 of the features didn't flow. The water wasn't flowing right. Just little things. The umbrellas are due in any day now. They were shipped 2 days ago. So the umbrellas, we have 12-foot umbrellas that'll match our Seashore Water Park, a smaller level. Those are 20-footers. These will be 12-footers. And that project will be wrapped up. There again, I can't think of everybody. We lost a little help over the last couple weeks. We lost 3 employees. There again, we put a ad out and got some nice candidates. Already hired 2 of them. They start Monday, and there's a 3rd one that we will be starting, depending, next 2 weeks or so. And had a guy on vacation, so actually we were 4 down, which really puts a hurt on. It's nice the kids are out of school now to help us out in the maintenance end. The water park, fantastic, great opening, huge days. The weather held out. I think we all were anticipating rain for the race, and man, the pool was packed. We've had good days up until today. It was a little slow, and then we had to close early due to the weather. But we've had 1 in-session training with the whole group, so they know all the safety measures to take and who takes the lead, who makes the call to 911, who does whatever, or all the different steps that we have. And did that during the Mel Canyon Classic, which went off pretty well. There again, can't say enough about the guards and how good they are. I do want all the parents to know out there, though, that I think we've removed 17 children from the pool this year, and we won't tolerate bad behavior. Don't know what it is, but they're a few aggressive kids out there, or disrespectful, I'll say, and they won't be allowed back in without a parent or guardian. And if they're really inappropriate, they won't be allowed back in at all. And I hate to do that with this being the first week of spring or summer break, but won't be tolerated at the park. Had things that have never occurred before, and we're not going to start them now. We have a really good thing here going, and there again, it's nice to have the adult managers. They've done an outstanding job along with the office staff, Taylor and Allison both, but Lori Frost is a great addition to the park, and can't say enough about her and her hard work. And everybody's very patient, and we want the best for these kids, but they have to follow the rules and be respectful. If they aren't, they won't be a part of it. And that goes for all the parks and everything else that we've had. We've had a few incidents, to say the least, and I hate to talk about negatives, but that's the negative. The last thing we want to do is have some kid that not be able to have fun during the summer, and this might be their only out, but they have to follow the rules. Other than that, we've had great days. Believe it or not, with all the rain we've had, very good days. I think that today was the only day that we've had to close early and not have a crowd, but kids are doing an outstanding job. We got a lot of good staff, and there again, I can't say enough about the maintenance staff being 4 down, and you wouldn't even know that you're 4 down now. We've gotten everything taken care of that needs to be taken care of, and really working very well together, and above and beyond. can't ask for more than that.
What is our opening date for the splash pad?
I wish I could tell you
I know
today. I hope to Saturday. I'm getting asked all the time too,
They're
and
saying June 7th on Facebook. and
I'm really hoping to, but there again, it all depends on how our walkthrough goes on Friday. There again, I hope to open it this weekend, which would be in Saturday the 8th, or is it the 7th? Yeah.
Isn't there another event going on?
There is an event going on.
Does that affect?
No, it really doesn't. There'll be the Colonial Days. It's the first event. Casey Sampson and his group with horses. They'll be out there on Saturday. Look at you, Lori. He won those horses, I'm telling you. I met with him a couple times, met with their board. It's always tough to run that first event but they've pretty organized compared to a lot of groups that come in. So we had to cancel softball this weekend because they're going to use that. That wasn't planned. That, looking back a few months ago, that was our bad. And hopefully the softball teams will understand that, but because they won't be playing next weekend either because it's Father's Day weekend, so they don't play then. But yeah, that'll be interesting. We have the hot pond going on Friday, the fishing derby. What did I say, Friday? Yeah, see, I'm lost. Saturday. All the days run together right now for all summer. Saturday, yeah, the fish are stocked. Got a great group picture of about 10 kids that were out there, but stocked that in the Conservation Club today. And then we also have a car show from Kokomo, which very excited about that too. They've had it at Kokomo for I don't know how many years. Their numbers started going down. They already have over 100 entries for ours. I just hope the weather holds for them. However, they did rent all the facilities for this Saturday and a week from Saturday, and knowing that there are no rain checks, and they did that just for a rain date. And they rented all the spaces out. So
they're at Memorial Park?
They're at Memorial Park, so we have Memorial, Abner, and Hot Pond all taken care of. The movie for mental health, talked to Pascal Fetting from Mental Health. They had a free movie night on Friday. Due to the forecast, he's backed it up to next Friday, so we could accommodate him there. Lebanon High School baseball is done at Memorial Park, and now we are into merchant season. So soccer season had a great season. And Scott Milam did a good job, and all the board members out there. Now we're firing up football at Abner Longley. So we've got a jam-packed summer, and I tell you, come in the office right now, and you'll have 15 people waiting for pool passes, and just unbelievable how busy we are. It's great, though. I think Frankfurt's pools are not open this year, so that's a little more impact on us. They're looking at building a new one. I think they're opening a splash pad too, right when you get into town. Of course, we get Brownsburg, they don't have a pool. You get Zionsville, they don't have a pool. Getting a lot of people from Crawfordsville and even some of their, Montgomery County, right? Some Montgomery County buses have been coming in. So, so far a really good season. I think we still have 4 openings for our pool parties. If you'd like to rent a pool party, call the office.
I should know the answer to this, but I don't. Do we have a capacity?
Yes, 845.
So we,
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we have 845.
all right, thank you.
Yes. Oh, and we have lap swimming too. The question's been coming up for lap swimming, and yes, we do. We offer it 5:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to 6:30. And we've had that for a long time, just not a lot of.
People don't know what they're missing.
They don't, no. If I could get out of bed, that's just like Pilates the other day.
Wake up call?
Yeah,
5:05,
that's
I'll
all
get
right. My daughter guards, so I think she's kind of up. But no, they're, the Pilates class, I think they had 11, 12, 13 people for the first free Pilates. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays. went very well. And, yeah, I think Allison's doing a great job with expanding our programs. And
Just start doing Tai Chi and then I'll be.
Tai Chi, there you
You'll be
go.
all set.
But yeah, everything seems to be running really smooth. I can't say enough about the staff, how dedicated they are and compassionate about all they do. Downtown, that's another walkthrough that we'll do Friday, and the plan material is all in now, so what you see is what you get. We'll see what happens there, if we might change it up next year or whatever, but we'll see how this all comes about. But we will be maintaining that. We go about twice a week right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, pick up cigarette butts and trash, but we will have somebody down there on a more regular basis, full-time. We did get the umbrellas and the little tables down there.
nice.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah,
really
there's one that was bent on shipping, and something got confused there, but that's on its way, so as soon as it gets in, we'll get it installed.
They look
But
really nice.
they do. It's very, very nice down there. The lieutenant
nice for
governor came
Hokies.
down.
Yeah.
Lieutenant governor was here yesterday, really nice to walk around and really enjoyed. Our trails are expanding. There's plans in the works there to connect all the way from one park to another, which I've always wanted, and real excited about that. They demoed the house down on Southeast Street as you go into the splash pad. After purchasing that property, another property in the works down there, we purchased 2 over by Timmons, Seed on Noble Street. Just really exciting. And then again, I think Ed from the utilities came and spoke with you about possibly the trade, the 2 acres for and I don't know that we've made a decision on that. I know that we were favorable, we didn't really, so I'll get with the attorney and find out what the proper process is there, and we can look, but it'll all have to be surveyed and all that before we do anything. But I think that's something that, connected to the parks that we would like to, but that's your decision, and can't think of a whole lot. I could go on and on for hours of what all we've been doing. You have kind of a detail or some of the things. That's what I could think of in the hour that I sat down and wrote real quick. So, yeah,
Did quite well.
the guys keep track of everything's done on a daily basis, a logbook at the maintenance shop, but I didn't go get it because, I had other fires in the oven.
Yeah, I think at the last meeting, or whenever Ed presented that, as far as the trade-off, if I recall, we decided we wanted to go forward with that, but
Favorable.
we also wanted, because of the difference in price or value, we had to look at the values.
Right.
Because they were talking about maybe helping with trails and things like that, so kind
Yeah.
of looking at going forward with it with some trade-off.
I think the
there.
attorneys are talking now, if I'm not mistaken, the utilities, and that was the last conversation I had, but
Okay.
we've kind of, there again, we've hit summer, and it's, boy, we got 4th of July and everything just next week, it seems like, so.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, it is right around there, but everybody's working very well together and very dedicated. Can't say enough about everybody's dedication, and your own, I appreciate it.
Is the fishing derby at the Conservation Club or at the Hot Pond?
Hot
Okay.
Pond, yes.
This was confusing, so.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I wrote real quick. You gotta see, there's 3 phones going off at once with 2 girls and me. I've been answering the phone. That's how bad it is. And I can't do anything. Along with pool passes and concerns from the managers, and it's just it is very interesting. Days go pretty quick. It's like I didn't even know it was lunch and it was 4 o'clock, so there you go.
Rather have it that way than quiet.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
Some quiet might be nice.
winter's nice.
Balance, right?
But, yeah, I can't say enough about the staff at the park, and I think everybody on the board agrees.
They are.
They're very dedicated. You could drive around and look. I mean, you could tell.
It was bugging them so bad, we couldn't mow a lot of areas because of the tall grass. Everybody was so bugged, so they put hip waders on and went out there and weed-eated it down. Of course, it dried out in the last couple days, and they couldn't wait to get out there and feather it out, but it was bugging them so bad because we've never had those big areas. We've had a few, but finally got to the Arboretum for the first time this year, today. It's It's 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall.
bet.
We've got the majority of it, but there's still places we can't mow out there. We have a lot of drainage issues, which I think you signed a claim there with Gary Ladd that's worked on that. We have a plan, but now we got to put the plan in, do some work for the plan, so there you go.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? If you've had time to review the claims, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
I move we approve the claims.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. And before I forget, our July meeting is July 10th.
July
Is
10th.
that correct?
Yes.
So the next Board of Park Commissioners meeting will be Wednesday, July the 10th. Okay.
We are keeping the same policy. The night before, they can put their blankets out, or they can't put blankets, but they can mark there at 4 o'clock on July 3rd. Is that still the policy? That's good for you? Okay, good. July 3rd, they can put their, mark their spots, July 3rd, at 4
no
o'clock.
blankets.
But no blankets.
But no blankets, no, they can mark their spots with,
But no
rope.
blankets.
How is that enforced, really?
It's pretty tough, I tell you, sometimes there's arguments and sometimes people are really nice, but depending, normally during the week, they aren't so bad, but when it's a weekend, 4th of July, yeah, but Brad Bailey enforces it, and he'll have them go out there, and better him than me. 4 o'clock, they can
People sit
go.
out there all day waiting.
Well, they picnic at 5, no, we'll pull in at 5, and they'll be there picnicking at 5 o'clock, sitting at their spot. And it's great, it's a good time, 4th of July, nothing better. There you go.
Lock me in. Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else to come before the board, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you for joining us this evening, and remember, in July, we'll be meeting on July 10th, which is a Wednesday.